Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Mental Conditioning Gym podcast. My name is Elliot Allen, your host of the Mental Conditioning Gym podcast, the Mental Conditioning Trainer. I'm very, very, very excited. And I was able to do this. I've been doing this now for 4 years. And I always tell you guys the same thing when I get started. If I forget to say my name, it's because I'm super excited. It's not that I'm not super excited today. I'm just ready to go. We have a powerhouse panel today. We're going to really, really dig deep. I want to get started as quickly as I can, so I'm going to get all the particulars out of the way. We already had our ring walks. The men are already in the ring, but I want to introduce them, and then we're going to get into the meat of the order of exactly what we are doing. Here we go with another exciting season of the Mental Conditioning Gym podcast. Let me just go around the room real quick. We got my brother Eiffel, who is in the building. And listen, he is a legend to the Mental Conditioning Gym podcast. He is in the Hall of Fame, not necessarily for reasons anybody who's been a fan of the show know who he is. I'm so happy to have him back. Welcome again, Eiffel, to the show. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
We got Coach Dino in the building, who is also, listen, I want to say this is a mentor of mine. This is one of the guys that, for the past, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, he's been an instrumental part behind the scenes of, just building the movement of the mental conditioning movement and in the mental conditioning gym. I've seen him do many things that I'm trying to catch up to him. He's also a member of the mental conditioning gym, also a Hall of Famer. His number will be in the rafters here one day as well. So thank you, for coming out.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
We also have my brother Ash in the building. This guy, let me tell you, needs no introduction. He's also another guy that he comes to the mental conditioning gym and he spars faithfully. He's definitely one of the best fighters that we have that come into the gym. He pushes all of us that are here. He has pushed all of us. So we want to definitely always say thank you to him. He is definitely a legend in the mental conditioning gym. And this is very important to me to have, guys, fighters like that in the gym because it pushes us to do things that give us tremendous amount of clarity. So thank you, Ash, for coming through today.
Thanks for having me.
And last but not least is my brother, John, who is in the building with us. John is also, a mentor of mine. John and I have known each other for a couple of years, but he's quickly become a guy that, you know what, sometimes when I need some sparring, I'll call him one-on-one, and he definitely delivers me some excellent work. Sometimes he hits me with some really hard punches, but that's the work that we need to be able to push forward. When I need some work, I actually go out there sometimes to gyms myself. I like to go to as many gyms as I can. He has the Dad's Club here in Elmont, New York, and I go there to do a lot of work with the men that in his particular gym in the Dad's Club. So we welcome you, John, to the set. Thank you, men, for coming out today. Let's get busy. Thank you, John. Let's go. Let's go right into it. Today we're going to be talking about not theme. I like to theme each one of these conversations that we have. We're starting off with the men. This time we're going to do another roundabout session of talking about the mindset of men, talking about the mindset of women, and I'm probably going to go reel this into parenting and just so many different areas that we want to go into. But I like to theme it certain ways to turn up the heat, to turn up the gas on the stove. And today we're going to be talking about the mindset of a professional man. The mindset of a professional man. I love that term when you hear professional, because that's just something that represents so many different things. Before we came on, we was talking a little bit about dressing, and I was telling them, how I learned how to dress some 25, 30 years ago when I first started working in Manhattan, learning how to dress professionally. But we're not talking about business here. We're talking about a professional mindset for a man. I'm going to give you guys one quick boxing example to set it off, to set the tone of exactly what I'm talking about when I say the mindset of a professional man. Mike Tyson, started his career very, very early, and he was trained by the late, great Cus D'Amato, one of the great trainers in the sport of boxing, who not only was a great technical guy, but his philosophies about the sport was so intriguing to me. I love to hear trainers like that. And he asked Mike Tyson when Mike Tyson was probably about 16 years old. If you ever get a chance to see the movie with Michael Jai White, the scene is in the movie. And he busts in the room. He says to Mike, do you know what a professional is? And Mike says to him, yeah, it's somebody that makes a lot of money. He said, oh, let me stop you right there. It got nothing to do with money. A professional is someone that can perform no matter what. Someone that can perform no matter what. And that struck me as very, very powerful statement to say, like, man, obviously he's 16 years old. He doesn't understand what is going to be that Custody Amato is talking about. But I see that philosophy for us as men and being a professional man. We're being asked a lot of times to be able to perform in our lives no matter what the circumstances. We're going to get into it. I'm going to develop as we start to talk today what this does, a little bit more about exactly what we mean. But I wanted to open up the panel right now and ask you guys, is that something you see as men to be part of our responsibility, to be able to perform no matter what? Let's get into it.
I would say yes,
Go ahead.
because when you attach the term man to it, there's a difference between man and male. Many times, what we get lost at is applying the term man to males. A man is supposed to carry himself in a professional manner, and that is being accountable for all those that he come in contact with, being upstanding, upright, holding certain values, teachable values, being able to be a listener as well as a guider, as well as a leader. That is the professional man. It's not about the exterior. It is about his aura. It is about the way he speaks, the way he's carry himself, and also his consistency. You as a professional man is much different as a professional male. A professional male will dress the part, but will not walk the walk. A professional man is in one of serving, one of giving, one of teaching. That is a professional man. A professional male wants to be served, wants to be given, and not held accountable. So when you say a professional man, it comes across a whole lot different.
I love that. Anybody want to add? Let's get some more meat on the table so we can eat it.
Let me jump
Yeah,
in.
so I mean, yeah, go ahead. Is it Dennis or Dino?
Yeah, it's Ash. It's Ash. Don't
Yeah.
worry about the name
Go-
on the corner.
Go
What
ahead,
I would
brother.
have to say is when you look at the word professional, the definition includes an expert, right? So I definitely believe that no matter what, a professional man has to show up. So it's not that you are an expert at being a man, but I think just like what he said earlier, it's circular. So you're in a constant pursuit of development, behavior, attributes. There's a certain level of consistency that you have that a lot of males don't. So I think that's what distinguishes the male versus the man. So when we're also talking about it, and I jotted something down real quick, that professional man is willing to do what others don't. It's not that he's an expert, but he's a practitioner. He's constantly learning, constantly growing, and willing to listen to other advice of his lady, his wife, and so on and so forth, so that he can bring all of those things together to improve himself so he can, once again, better serve, like John said.
I love that. I can expand on that, but Ive, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, board analogies first is awesome. It's pretty much, in the same thought process that I had. My thing as a professional man, what a lot of males today, I don't think get is we have certain standard and morals that we live and we die upon. See, most males, or all of us, we would say, we're built on ego. That's our thing as the male species. Professional man, he has an ego to a point, but he knows when to say he's right or he's wrong. He knows how to adapt to certain situations. A professional man also knows loyalty. And that's a big thing in society. What a lot of the males don't value anymore is loyalty. You live by your word, you die by your word. Even though if it go against what it is, your loyalty and your word is everything. That's the way I was raised. I'm saying coming up, that if you say you're gonna do something for someone, you're gonna do it. If you're gonna get married to a girl and you're gonna have children, despite what goes down, your responsibility to take care of those children. You might not like what she did to you, but you got to respect her. She's a lady. So all these things, come together that makes up a man. And like Kevin Samuels always says, it's called a high valued man. And I would say, that's my thing, my take on it.
I love that, and I'm gonna get you, Dino. But now you're seeing these pieces. Now I got them jotted down on my paper. Words were put out there like expert, ego, loyalty, keeping your word, and responsibility. So now we're starting to get that what. And remember what I said. Castellano told Mike Tyson. It has nothing to do with money. It has to do with being able to perform no matter what. And when you have these words, a word like loyalty, I think, and that speaks to what Eiffel was just kind of trying to say. That takes a professional man to keep that loyalty under what? That circumstances can be a lot of different things that we get challenged. And can you continue to keep that loyalty under those challenges? And so that's why I'm talking about being a professional man, because we're going to be challenged on that one. Dino, go.
Yeah, I want to just drop something into the mix that perhaps we may have in our definition taken for granted. Good, bad, positive, negative. And I believe that one of the characteristics of a professional man is that he deals with good, that he deals with positivity. Because, it's not hard to go wrong. It's not hard to do bad. It's not hard to be negative. It's not really hard at all. But the challenge of being good, I think John said consistently, continuing to think that way, to understand that way, to be able to, your paradigms, your models for how you see things and how you view things and interpret things, it's structured around being good and being positive, as opposed to, because, you could be, and good and bad is different, because good and bad it's different for everyone, could be different for anyone.
Yes.
But to remain on the side of, like, we all understand good, we all understand positive, but we also understand bad and we understand negative. And just that piece about the man with his mindset and his heart and his intentions and so forth, they're surrounded, by good, by being good, by doing good, by being positive, and keeping it moving from that perspective. That's just what I wanted to share.
I love that, because again, this is putting the what on the table for us. These are things, if you're putting that on the table, life is going to test us. And so again, can you perform no matter what? I want to put a little bit more meat on the table, then I'm going to get into the principles, and that's going to start testing us. But this is an important question. We kind of talked a little bit about it. Everybody kind of talked a little about it, but I want to put some real hard definition to it. This is a hard stance right here. When we talk about roles, do we think there are certain roles that men are responsible to perform? Do we think that there's certain roles that us as men are responsible to perform? And keep in mind, as a professional man, we are now committing that you have to perform no matter what the circumstances are. Or are there things that we believe as men that's our role to be able to take? Or do we think all the roles are interchangeable between men, women, children, parents? How does that mindset work for you guys in terms of, do we think there are roles? Are roles are something that's critical? This is where I think this is a very important conversation, a very important question, because that's coming to question in our society today about our roles. And if we're going to claim that, once again, we have to be professional about it to say, I'm fully committed to that role. What do you guys think about that?
So, Al, to go back to what you said, to be a professional, like you said, you have to be ready at all times for every situation.
Yes.
And I just had a conversation yesterday with my brother. And when I put out to him is that I raised my daughters, and I played a dual role as father and mother. He said he couldn't rock with that because of, to hear a man say that he took on a role as a mother as well, And I said, yo, you got to understand. I said, when there's a void, I am the one. It's my duty to step into that gap. No matter what the gender is, I have to step into that gap, and vice versa. If I wasn't there, then the mother got to step into that gap. We don't like to hear it because of because of this societal role thing. But at the end of the day, as a professional and as a father, I knew what my duty was to my children. And it was greater than worrying about being, because I had to be soft and I had to be tough. I had to be disciplined and I had to be wise. I had to play a duality that to get them to a place of where they are now. So I say it because of, just like you said, I had to be ready for that. I had to be ready for that job.
Yes.
And I didn't pass the job on by finding just another woman to have her step in. No, I got this. So for me, I say that the role thing is always going to be personal based upon what everyone's situation is, and everybody's situation ain't the same. Sometimes you have fathers who are not strong. So there has to be a good cop and a bad cop. So now if he's not one that he's a good cop all the time, then who is going to be that bad cop? So roles also interchange. That's how I see it. That's me, dog.
Somebody will stand up to that. That's very fair. Stand up.
Let me challenge him on that definition a little bit. In regards to taking the role of the mom, right? Based on what you just said, you were being the professional man, the professional father, because you have to weigh things out. It's not always the belt. Sometimes you just got to take it easy. Sometimes you got to be soft on them. And that goes if you're in a relationship, out of a relationship, everything doesn't require a hammer or that hardcore masculine energy. It's the duality that's within yourself. That's a part of being a man. That's a part of being a responsible man, a professional man, a father. You look at particular situations that your kids are going through, and you know when to egg them on to toughen them up. And you know when to throw your arm around their shoulder and say, hey, come here, let me talk to you. Something's going on. So it doesn't necessarily mean, to me, my opinion, that you're going into the feminine per se or into the motherly role. You're being a great father, and that's amazing.
I agree. That's a good point. That's a good point.
So,
Dino,
I think
so hold on, Dennis, what I want to say to you is this, is the understanding which you are speaking on. But you see, the actual wording of I took on the mother role is not a feminine part. It's about the nurturing part, because we know what the stereotype is dads are supposed to be the tough one, supposed to be the rough one, are quick with the belt. But like you said, you got to know when to pull back. The nurturing side is where generally that's where the mother steps in and she's the nurturer. But if you don't have that woman there, that's just like you said, I had the duality of being able to see that I need to be a nurturer as well, and not just a stern father role.
Let me I want to inject something to what John's saying. I understand what he's saying. We don't want people to to misunderstand the point he's trying to make. Like I have a philosophy. I mean, I've always lived by this. Women are nurturers and carers. Men, our job is to provide and protect. In relation to what John is saying, sometimes there's a void where you end up being a single father. And you're not really taking on the role as a mother because we're providers and protectors. That nurturing part is built into what we do. So it just comes natural, as a father, because we provide and we protect. But if you break down the provision is also, is the nurturing, caring, being the softer side. So that's all built into that, my analogy of we provide and protect. Mothers pretty much nurture and care. And as long as society, if they stay with that old model, things will be fine. Is when we start going out of that zone, this is where we have an issue today in society. That's just my take on it.
Speak a little bit, push that a little bit, not too far, but push it a little bit more, iPhone, when you say we're going out of that zone. Take it easy.
What? I'm sorry?
Take it easy, but I want you to push on that one a little bit more.
Well, today's society, they try to, okay, as back in the day of our grandparents, let's say we take it back another 30, maybe 40 years, because most of us are in our late 30s, 40s. I don't want to insult anybody, age-wise. And if we watch, and I'm 52, and if we watch the way how our grandparents, our grandfathers, our grandmothers, the way how our aunts back then, how the relationships were ran, even though we were younger, we couldn't tell there was issues, because the grandma, aunties, moms, they always care for the house, care for the kids, make sure that the pops was always fed, clothes was washed, kids were put together, they were sent to school. Grandpa, uncles, and our dads, their job was to go out there, don't matter under any circumstances. Grandma, auntie never knew the difficulties of where the money came from. Their job was to go out there and go get it and make sure that there was a shelter, a roof over their kids' head, and there was foods in their belly. And yes, society ran just fine. Fast forward today. Today, they have taken these women and they're trying to interject this role as you don't need that provide and protect. You could do that yourself. And this is where the problem happens now. Because a lot of these women say that I'm self-sufficient. Okay, you're self-sufficient. But then when it's time to go change the oil in your car, hey guys, could you help me? Could you take my car to the shop? So where is the self-sufficient there? So society has manipulated them. It's a mirage. And I believe this is a money-making thing where they benefit. And I'm going to go a little bit further into it because the way society has changed the feminine side and the masculine side, because society wants single mothers. They don't want fathers in the picture. Because when a family has a mother and a father, they have a greater rate of success. Back then, 30, 40 years ago, I'm pretty sure our grandpa, uncles, fathers, they might have stepped out on our aunts and our grandparents, the female version, but you could never tell because they always kept that shit to themselves. Forgive my language. They always kept it intact and always made sure that we never saw that ugly side. Today's society, the minute one thing happens, everybody wants to break, but no one ever thinks about the kids and the repercussion of separating, as a couple, what it does to these children. So that's my whole thing. And I think most professional males, I think we know the damage and we know the purpose of being a family, and some of us have some real stressful, I'm not saying I'm not attacking women. We have some real crazy, significant partners that we could find any excuse to walk away from. But real men tend to look at the big totality of it, the big picture, and say, you know what? It's our responsibility to raise these kids in a nice, comfortable environment. Make sure that they have daddy and mommy there when they need someone to speak to, a shoulder to cry on. They need someone to give them a voice, a reason, a little advice. Real men sometimes tend to take more than they need to.
Let me just say this real quick, and I'm gonna get in because I got to get to Dino. But I want to just, I wrote it down on my paper. Under the circumstance that you're talking about, to be a professional man under what you just put on the table, which is a lot of meat, and a lot of people gonna want to eat that up. And being a professional man behind that, and I think you answered it. Are you suggesting that what that entails in today's society, as you put it, would be that the man is kind of still hanging in there under the circumstances that you put on the table? I want to be clear here.
Yes, real professional masculine men. I mean, not masculine, I'm sorry. Real professional, high valued men still actually hanging there to ensure that their kids are raised right,
All right.
Because, for the listeners out there, because I know that women are going to be hearing this, real men just want peace. That's all we want. Peace and stability, man. Right. We ain't perfect. That's all we want.
Okay. Dino, let me get you on that one. If you still want to chime in on the roles,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I
got you, John. I'm gonna get back to you.
and I'll be brief. So first and foremost, I believe in roles. I believe that they were given to us, they would, divine intervention. They were given to us based on our physique, our differences, our genders. You know what I mean? Men are stronger physically. They have the role and the responsibility to provide and to produce and protect, and women to care and nurture, right? And sometimes a man has to show, a level of compassion, I want to call it. Levels of compassion when raising kids, when dealing with other women, when dealing with family, when dealing with basically, and to me, it's not even the individual, it's more so around the situation. You know what I mean? Some situations call for a soft hand. Some situations call for more understanding. And so, but one of the things I love about the roles is that it's a part of history.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And so many, I think, today, how individuals were raised, roles have kind of got diminished, believe it or not, when the man was especially for African Americans, removed from the household. And again, right, if you really study the history, if you study the history of family, if you study history of culture, if you study history of community, and so on and so forth, none of that goes on without the presence of a man, and of course a woman, and them being in their defined roles. You know what I mean? And so I definitely believe in the roles that have to be there are almost like what I call irreversible roles, right? If I'm walking down the street with a woman, I'm not going to look to her to protect me.
Yes.
She's going to look for me. That's instinctual. She might, feel as if she might be, all right to be able to, once she gets to a level of emotion and adrenaline, she might feel like she might be capable of taking on the challenge. But initially, it's at the end of the day, she should look to the man for protection, and that doesn't just mean physical protection.
Yes.
Because he has to be a thinker. He has to be strategic enough to be able to not put her and his children, his family, his community in danger. And so I believe that roles are very, very important, and they need to stand out a little bit more. I think once they're understood and there's some clarity around it, that individuals may embrace them, a tad bit more than they have. Thank you.
I like that. That's why I'm going over this one, because I think it is a hot box. Let me come back to you, John. I know you want to chime in on a couple of things, and then I got you, Ash, after. Go ahead, John.
Oh, okay. So, all right, I just got to put this out there. I just want to make sure. I think I'm the elder statesman here because I'm a 60s baby. Okay, I'm a legit 60 baby. All right. So I say this because here's the part that the dynamic that bugs me out. We can identify that in the 60s, 70s, 80s, especially the late 80s with the crack era, the man was taken out of the household. Anybody disagree with that? In many households, the man was taken out.
It was before that.
So, okay, no. Listen, 60s, 70s, 80s, right. So, with that being said, we know that there were strong black women that was getting their oil changes done. We know that there were strong black women that was holding down the household. We know that. But we sit here in 2026 and now we talk about the masculinity part in this. But this is where I get lost. We gave credence to our aunts, our grandmothers, those that raised the family, the black women that raised our families. Because I know I had aunts, I had cousins, man, I had a plethora of women in my neighborhood that was single parents raising kids and doing a hell of a job. Now, was it perfect? No. But we never diminished them in their role while they were doing it.
Well, John, tell me when you say that. I want to get you to be very clear when you said we never diminished their role. Be clear.
Because the viewpoint of today is is that women wants to be masculine. They don't need a man and all this and that. I'm listen, I will say it. That is madness to me. Are there some women out there? Of course there are. But there's a handful, a village of women that have held down the household that are not looking to be men. They're not looking for that. They just have been able to take on a role as running the household and being that strong person. And also, there is trauma from that. There are PTSD from that. I know when I was growing up, my family was messed up. Mm-hmm. My uncle wasn't waking up in the same room with my aunt. Mm-hmm. Every household had its own dynamic. Mm-hmm. But yet we sit here now and we're quick to say about the single mother, what she's doing and how it's being done. Well, why didn't you question grandma? Why didn't you question auntie? Because again, you respected what they was doing back then. Only now do we sit back. And now we disparage what women are doing, black women are doing this day and age when we didn't do it in the past. That's where I get lost at.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to that, John. I got a question for that, but Ash, go.
All right, I'm gonna jump back to the role aspect of this. I truly believe in the roles, and so does my wife. And I had an interesting conversation with her in regards to leadership. It's like, who leads, right? So with that, she agrees that I lead. But my job is, and what she requests of me is that I be clear and consistent in what I'm doing. And I also keep her aware of what's going on and all the issues, the ups and downs, and so on and so forth. But some of these things also with the issues, you got to pick and choose what you say. Sometimes you got to handle it by yourself and not worry her, right? So when it comes with the leadership, I look at it as leadership through service, right? Because at the end of the day, if the relationship fails, it's my fault. I'm to blame. All the weight is on my shoulders. So it's up to me. It's up to me to go out there and work 18, 19 hours, stand out there, get called in, random locations I got to show up at, to clock in. So it's up to me to push for that so that we can have, I would have to say, an equitable balance within the household.
I love that, and for everybody out there that's listening, for the men that's on here, I want you guys to really see how we're developing that term that I started off with and saying being a professional man. John opened it up, and I'm gonna open this question up. I get you, Dino. And as John was talking, I wrote this question down because I hear what John is saying, but I hear what Ash was saying as well. And so, so here's the question then, and if you can chime in on this. The mindset that John is putting on the table, and I don't think any of us would disagree with what he's saying in terms of the mindset of the women that's being put on the table and the role that they have. That's why I asked him to be clear about using the word diminishing, their role. I don't think anybody's necessarily doing that. But the question is, does that mindset of women affect the professionalism of a man? And in terms of what we're talking about it, in terms of why we given that definition in this conversation, does that affect the professionalism of a man?
Would you say the conduct of the woman?
Yes, what John is putting on the table is legit what he's saying, but does that affect our professionalism of how we want to be a professional man?
It doesn't. I'm sorry. It doesn't affect us. It doesn't affect us in any way because the professional man, pretty much we are well-rounded mentally, physically, spiritually. So it does not affect us in that sense, but it would affect, I would say, the outcome of our children, or the way society see things from the outside. But internally, real men, professional men, we care less about what's on the outside or what people say about us, So, to add to what you guys are saying is, that professional man that we all just described, we have been through the catacombs. We were young. We made our mistakes. We took our lumps, and we got to this part where we have understand life, with clarity. You know, the things that we have achieved, the new self-image that we built is built on chaos that we endured. You know what I'm saying? Coming through life. You understand? So now we're sitting back in this, I would say, peaceful era in ourselves, because when you become professional, you become very peaceful. Nothing really rattles you. You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question is, it doesn't matter. You know, that smoke outside doesn't affect on the inside of us. We just know by that those type of women, they tend to bring that negativity, you know, in our circle. But would it affect us? No, I don't think so. Not for a second.
Dino, go.
So
I
yeah,
like
just
that.
looking at it from a non-married perspective. I'm not married at the moment, and
Smart guy.
no, I went through a lot. Trust me, and I really want to say that the type of woman or the behavior of a woman or the mindset of a woman has a great effect upon a man. I've seen it in inside of marriages, but I've definitely seen it in the selection process. And when I talk about the selection process, I'm talking about, like, there are certain women that, you know, have particular behaviors that I would not choose.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that I may have some behaviors that they might not, you know, select as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, things have to fit just based on who you are. But I'm just saying, from the perspective of a professional man who you know, has some wisdom and some viewpoints, and you know, and been through some things. The behavior of a woman would affect me, especially if it's negative, especially if it isn't congruent with, you know, the direction in which I'm going in the things that I need. And I'm going to give a quick example. I'm a professional, own business. I, you know, work with people all the time, and one of the rules that you know, my wife passed away, but she was a minister, and one of the rules that we had, whenever I was about to go out and do you know, speak publicly, or you know, do an event, or so on and so forth, or if she had to teach, or you know, speak, or whatever, what have you, we would not bring any type of negativity, any type of argument, any type of disruption to each other's process. My process was, I need time, I'm studying, I'm rehearsing, I'm doing what she's doing, and she's doing the same thing. And we, you know, we came to agree, because it happened once that she went to bring something to me at the wrong time, and I had to say, whoa, not now. Because you know, as a professional man, both as a professional man and a professional, I'm responsible for people's lives.
Yes.
And you can't infect me with some possible insecurity or some nonsense that I would travel, you know, to, and you know, take with me, and then possibly infect someone else.
I understand
And
that.
so
I understand.
that isn't allowed. So it's almost like, you know, now from and that was in a married state. But looking at women, you know, the way that I do now, there are just certain type of women, and sometimes based on what they said, based on what they convinced me that they would be or could be, or that they are, that I chose not to select. And that's just being a transparent, good.
I
You know, I'm gonna
like
say it
that.
the way I want to say it, being a good motherfucking dude. Like, I know, you know what I mean, the difference.
And let me say this. I'm gonna get to you, Ash. But I'm gonna put this next question on the table, because and I have to, because of what Dino just put on the table, and this is very important. And let me just prerequisite by saying this. You know, I see a lot of, you know, if you're going through social media, these conversations are happening all over the place, and people are putting all kind of crazy stuff on the table. I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to get back into doing that, because it's crazy, the stuff that goes on. So I said, I want to be able to dig into this thing a little bit different. And the different piece that I'm going to put to it is that I want to make sure that we're staying within what I do in the mental conditioning gym, which is the 4 principles. And I want to bring it home to that as we go into the second half. And I want people, you guys, and it really led the way. He gave me an assist. All I got to do is lay it up right now.
Okay.
the first of the four principles is self-evaluation. And so when you match that up, you're talking about self-evaluation and being a professional man. John and I have this conversation all the time about, us as men evaluating ourselves properly. So I'm gonna put that question, and Ash, I'll let you go first because you got your hand up. You can make your point and get to that. How important is it as a professional man to perform, and I got you too, John, to perform our honest self-evaluations? I think we're really developing that right here. And because that's the thing that it's hard to keep your professionalism and still perform those self-evaluations due to, remember I told you earlier, we're going to define no matter what. This is now we're defining the what. We're putting that what on the table, and we even throwing some jabs at each other because of that what. But that what, when we're talking about the mental conditioning gym and what we do here, it has a lot to do with us being able to perform proper and honest self-evaluation. John's an expert. He and I have had some great talks about that, and he's going through lists to make sure that he got his self-evaluations right. But Ash, go first, and then John, I got you, and then everybody will get it.
Well, I have to say that is the hugest key point and very difficult for many people to do is that self-evaluation. So I believe it's in AA, they say the quote is, first you have to admit that there is a problem in order to get some help. So you have to admit as a man your faults, your issues, your problems, your trauma, whatever else that's going on with you that isn't healed. You have to admit that to yourself. You have to do that self-evaluation to push forward. To go back to what we was talking about with the professional male, I look at it as, all right, number one on my list is your purpose. What is your goal? So unable to achieve that goal is to branch off into different directions like a tree. So you have to get help. You have to get healed. You have to do the internal work. You got to admit, hey, look, I'm allergic to certain things. So when it goes back to your question in regards to can a woman affect that guy? Yeah, most definitely if you pick the wrong one. But still, it goes back to I picked her. That's my fault. That's my fault. That's my responsibility in this tree that I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to fertilize. I'm trying to have fruit from it. I'm trying to have kids, grow from it. I have to pick the right fertilizer, the right woman to be within my life to achieve that goal. And I sit down with my wife and I remind her from time to time. My end goal is to be old as dirt. I die of a heart attack. She die of heartache. And then that's it. A whole bunch of grandkids everywhere running around, it's that's success to me. Us making it to that very, very end, to the point whether we're in nursing homes together or what have you, but that's the goal. And the question is for the gentleman, what are we doing to ensure that we make that come true as the professional male? And that's what we have to do. Constantly do the work.
John, go ahead, man.
All right. So I just got to dial back for a moment. Give me a minute. And Ash, I really want to say this to you. I commend the communication you have with your wife. And the reason why I say that is this. So many times because of a gender, you are appointed as a leader. Not everybody knows how to lead, especially a household. That has to be more about work, action, and accountability. But so many times, couples don't have that conversation. They automatically walk in and the male think that I am the leader. I am the appointed leader here. And many times, things suffer based on that because who taught you how to lead? Leadership is guidance and it's not just a given. You have to go through certain things to become a leader. Many times there are steps that are skipped over. And now because of gender, you are, quote unquote, the man of the household, but you don't know how to run a house. Do that make you a leader? So I just wanted to throw that out there because of in your breakdown, like you said, your wife and you have an understanding of what this is and you've shown the ability to lead. Now, on the other note about the self-evaluation, and I've said this in the past, we are our biggest liars. We lie to ourselves A lot of times. A lot of times based on our childhood, we don't want to face trauma. We have our own embedded issues that we overlook. And Ellen and I have spoke about this. If you're really going to have a real self-evaluation, you got to rip your practical soul out to see yourself for who you are, or have people around you be honest. And that's the hardest thing, because can you handle honesty? Can your mate truly be honest with you? Are you in a place? Are you sitting in a seat that you might be saying everything is good? I am the man. But if she was to be honest with you and really break it down, you might not be. Can you handle that? So that's why I said when we talk about this self-evaluation piece, and yes, Ellen, I know it's a strong piece, because that's when you come to terms with yourself. You lie to everybody else because it comes from within. And until you can see yourself, will you really acknowledge where you are in this thing called life? And that's why I constantly say, man, I sit in meditation, I sit in conversation, I sit with those around me that can say, this is what you are doing. This is the leadership role which you have. This is how it moves. This is how it works. So it's not only my own self-evaluation, it is having those around me to also certify that what is going on within me is right. But not many of us is able to do that. And can you be honest with yourself that I'm not ready to get the truth? I'm not ready for honesty, because I think that's another hurdle.
That's right. That's right. Go ahead, Dino.
I don't think, and maybe this was just my life growing up, I remember reflecting back, self-evaluation. You know what I mean? Reflecting back to whereas I thought that, younger, I thought that I was a leader, but I realized I was really following. And I don't even know if I was following a who or what. You know what I mean? Just kind of looking back in my late teens, early 20s. And, now when I think about that today, right? Because sometimes people selectively place people around them, strategically place people around them that what I like to call me too fool. Every time you say something, you be like, yeah, me too. They just agree with you with everything. And those are not, those are individuals that, they are your friends. They, do what you do, basically do what you say, but they really don't have an opinion of their own. They're really not individuals who you can trust with, difficult matters, I'll say, right? So, it's periods, right? When I played ball, I had a group of dudes that I played ball with because that's what they were good at. When I hung out, chased women, I had a group of dudes that chased women. That's what they were good at. So that's what we did. I kept people in their proper perspective. And not long ago, I was going through a situation and I had so many people come to me and say, why didn't you speak to me? And because you were not a professional at this type of matter. If it was about this, I would have come to you, but it wasn't about that. Of course it was about me, but it was about me going through this.
Yes.
And in that tribulation, I needed individuals that were versed. And so self-evaluation is good. Again, being difficult. Benjamin Franklin said the easiest thing for a man to do is to deceive himself. Right? We, even on surveys, we take surveys. We know it should be a 2, but we give it a 3. We know it should be a 1, but we give it a 5. You know what I mean? And that's all the way around the board. Yes. And as a man on a first date or in a dating sequence, I'm looking at probably only 70% of the truth anyway. Just to get past the representative, I'm only dealing with 70% of the truth. I try to project as much as I can, which is why, and I tell brothers, lead with character. Because when you lead with character, you don't have to lie. You are who you are, but you need to know who you are. But you are who you are, and you don't have to worry about trying to remember what it is that you said and what it is that you did, and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to share that piece. Thank you.
Go ahead. Oh, go ahead. Let Ive go real quick.
Hold on, because I got to leave pretty soon. I just want to throw something out there on the self-evaluation piece. If
Mm-hmm.
you seen if you seen the video, Clifton Powell, the actor, he did a self-evaluation on a conversation, and he said at 70 he is just learning what love is, and he got lambasted for that.
I saw that. I did a video
But that
about that.
was his self-evaluation. That
Yes.
I thought what love was. What I thought love was for the past 70 years, it wasn't that. I'm just learning what love is, and
Mm-hmm.
people are killing him for that
But
self-evaluation.
if the
What?
young brother at the table would have
Let him.
listened
Yes.
instead of getting emotional,
Right.
you
I
know,
just did it. It's funny because I literally just did a video about that, and I said in the video that I did that based off of watching that, and the video Dino is called "Listen." Eiffel, go ahead. Let me get him in. Go ahead, Eiffel.
Well,
yeah.
yeah, real quick. I mean, if we're talking about a professional man, this is, I mean, I can't speak for everybody. Everybody has their different versions of it. And we all might have the same, idea, but everybody has their own little spices
Mm-hmm.
to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't offend, I'm not here to offend anyone or any woman or whatever the case is, but this is my thing. At this stage of my life, I'm 52. I've been through a lot in life in the past. We all did. Everybody did. Those endeavors led us up to being where we are. So my version and what I'm trying to explain as a professional man, self-evaluation, all that stuff should have been done before you call yourself a professional man. That's not even in the question, in the equation. I move on energy. Like when you get to a professional state as a man and a father, a husband, whatever the case is, you have a certain mindset, that you develop through times. And what is through tragedy, whatever the case is, everything is built into this professional man. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll give you an example, like discipline, loyalty, as I said, and so many things. Like, I mean, I'm a married man. Yeah, I love my family. But listen, I'll walk around the street and I'll see a pretty piece, a pretty bird walk around the street. But because I'm disciplined and I'm loyal, I can still admire that piece and move on and do nothing else that I'm not supposed to do because I'm a professional. You understand what I'm saying? So all these things that we're putting into perspective should have been done before you claim that you are a professional man, because we should be above most males. You understand? We're not perfect because there's no human that's perfect. Yes, we're going to have errors. There's going to be flaws with us. There's going to be temptation. There's going to be whether you understand there's love or there's not love. But the professional part of it is that the main decisions, we are able to make it and do it right. That's the professionalism of it, because there's no professional man that's perfect and he can say he's perfect. There's none, because we're humans.
Of course.
So any self-evaluation should have been done years ago. I mean, I personally, if I encounter an individual now, in 10 minutes, I could tell if you're going to be in my circle or not. And I'll tell you this is because of the experience that you had in life that led up to you where you're at right now. You develop that certain positive energy that humans give off, that negative energy or that intuition or whatever you want to call it, or that professionalism, as we're talking about. The things you have been through allow you to listen to the words that comes out of that person's mouth, watch their body language, and know if that's the person that I want to surround myself with. Because I can tell you this, if I meet any one of you guys in person for 5 minutes, I would know if we'll be having a conversation again tomorrow or not. Because I'm at that level right now, and not in a bad way. It's just every professional man have a certain type of people they keep in their circle. Because that's what keeps us functioning. Go ahead.
I just wanted to be clear. You're saying that you do not believe that self-evaluation is a continuous process once you become a professional, once you consider yourself to be a professional man.
Now you're going past that already. That's gone past that already, because you're at a stage, a level right now where, you levitating over everybody else, man. A professional man, we see it from above. We look down, and we're not better than the average male. The difference is we're more experienced. You know what I'm saying? So self-evaluating is not necessary in RM because of the fact that we have everything covered.
Okay.
Pretty much. Because that's what led us up to being a professional. We covered all those angles. We went through a trauma. We faced it. We understand the love, the breakups, the emotions of women. We understand all that. That's what led us to being professional men. So now we have all that knowledge and we accumulated all that experience. That's what put us above the average male and which allow us to function differently than the average male. That's just my thing.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
No, I wanted to be clear in understanding you, my brother.
That was a great question.
Yeah, no problem, Dino. No problem, Dino.
Great question. I was going to ask the same question. Let me get to Ash. I'm gonna get you, John. I'm gonna get you. I know you got to go at 8. We're gonna wrap it down.
All right,
Go ahead.
let John go. Let John go.
Listen. I would just say this: your self-evaluation, to me, it really doesn't stop, because the man I was when my father died is a different man than when my mother died. It's a different man when my brother died. You know, through these things do we grow. And I still have to look at myself as a professional, even as in the workplace, you get evaluated with your job every year, because who you were last year might not be who you are this year. So that self-evaluation doesn't take away from that professionalism. It's actually humbling. You know, part of being that professional man is being humble enough to say that I have to reevaluate who I am right now. And I might be a little different from who I was last year. And maybe there's flaws that I recognized last year that I don't have this year. So the only thing that I'm saying is, it's nothing wrong with being able to continuously, like Dino said, continuously to self-evaluate, so that professionalism stays where we want it at. So you're staying consistent in being professional at it.
Don, are you a man of God?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you get to that spiritual level, the only person that should be evaluating you is God. I don't need to evaluate myself, because I tell you why.
That's a different conversation. Now you're leaning into a whole different conversation.
Hold on, John, and Dino can relate to this, because I'm gonna add this in there into the professional man aspect, because you're spiritually clear as well. You understand the right and the wrongs. You understand the weaknesses of man and human in general. You see, so we need to understand that when we use the word professional man, you know, it's the totality of us, of your mindset, your spirituality. Those things are big when you use the professional. Now, you could say semi-professional, you getting there, then you still have flaws to work on. But if we're calling ourselves professional, put it this way, we at the level, like I just said before, and I hate to be repetitive, we are levitating over the average male. All right, self-evaluation, that's up for God at this point, because we already been there, done that, cleared that path already. You use the fact that you evaluate in workers. That's a totally different thing when it comes to yourself, because when you get to that professionalism, you already understand what is out there worldly. You understand what's required of you as a father. You understand what's required of you as a husband and a boyfriend. You understand what it requires you as a buddy, a homeboy. So these things don't need to be self-evaluated, because you already done took care of that.
So
you just levitating through life right now, and that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I can tell you that. I stress nothing. I stress nothing. Nothing bothers me in this lifetime. Nothing, because I believe in that. I have that spiritual clearness. Go ahead, brother.
We want to put clarity to it, because this is something that, and this is good. I like to have these conversations, because as we said, there are different perspectives. And that's why I love Eiffel, because he's very clear about his perspective, and we have to dig into that. And I want the world to hear that. I want our female counterparts to hear that. So I want to get some clarity, like Dino said, get some clarity to that. So what you're sharing with us and you're putting on the table for us, Eiffel, is that you reached the point to where I don't have to do self-evaluation, because I'm going to use a word, and this is probably, you tell me if this is a little bit too bold of a word, but you've mastered the game. It's like a boxer who gets into the ring. One thing with Floyd Mayweather, he used to always say, and I thought it was so powerful, he's like, you know why nobody can beat me? Because I've mastered this game. Is that your perspective in terms of why you don't have to do your self-evaluation? Because you feel like with my experience and what I've gone through, I've mastered the game of life.
Yes, and I'll add to what something that Dino mentioned about relationships, evaluating women. Listen, I've been with my wife 13 years, man. We have 2 beautiful kids. we pretty much rock without even, communicating too much because we just know you have your zone, I have my zone, and we know what needs to be done for the family. But I still tell her on occasions, I say, if ever you choose to, that you feel like you're not in love with me and you in love with someone else, know this, you're free to go. Because you need to understand this is, I said, I will never hold you back from doing you because let's go again. I'm a professional man. I'm in that mental space already. I don't want you to stay in a place that you don't want to be. And I wouldn't hate you. You see, because a lot of people use this thing about love and I love her, but she broke my heart. But if you love her, you should love her enough to let her go. So apparently you really didn't love her in the first place. So I tell people this is when you meet a certain clarity in life, and I'm not saying I'm wishing for my wife to leave me, but I'm just saying if she chooses that she don't want to be in this situation no more, I'll tell her, listen, do you, I'll take care of my children. I'll make sure everything is right. We don't need to cause no static because I know all I need is peace. I could live in a box and be peaceful and I'm happy. Like you just said when you started the show, you don't need to be a millionaire. What the guy told Tyson. I don't care about money. I care about my mental space and peace. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a man of God. I mean, I don't go to church, but I already made my peace with him and I understand what is required of me, But that's the big flaw of a lot of males. They tend to let societal things affect their mindset and their lives, man. And me, I'm not cold. I'm just a realist because at the end of the day, your wife and your girlfriends, they're humans and humans are not perfect. And if you keep putting all your trust in a human, then you're a fool. You put trust in God. So, you would want a human to be loyal to you. You want a human to love you, but you need to understand is they will make a mistake. And if they do, you should not be in the mental space where if they leave you, you just fall apart. So then that's something you need to work on, you know what I'm saying, as you go through life. And that's what leads you up to being a professional man because you've been through all that.
Okay. I just want to get clarity now.
Yeah, that's just my clarity on it. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying that's just my take.
Well, because again, this is different perspective. John, I'm gonna let you go. We thank you for coming on. We're gonna finish up here.
It's a pleasure, John. It's a pleasure, Johnny.
Thank you, John, for coming on. When we do part 2, you know where it is.
Thank you, fellas. I really appreciate you, man. Yo, this is a great conversation. I am humbled to be a part of this, man. And each of y'all, I am giving grace and mercy and prayers to you. Continue being the professional men you are. I am proud of each and every one of y'all, man. Have a great night. Be safe, y'all. Peace
Thanks,
out.
John. Thank you, John.
Likewise, man. Stay up, John.
Ash, go ahead, man. Go ahead. And I got one more question, and I'm going to close it. But go ahead, Ash.
All right, I just wanted to roll it back a little bit to what Dino was saying in regards to the company that you keep. I think in regards to the definition that I have down here is the discerning qualities of the professional man. What kind of company are you keeping? Who do you keep in your circle? Who's closest to you? What kind of things are you listening to? What environments are you putting yourself into? It's the end of the shift. The guys are like, hey, look, let's go hit the bar. But your wife is waiting for you. Are you going? Are you going? One thing that it came to mind with dialogue, a lady brought this to my attention. She said, the moment that she's in an office environment and she's having a one-on-one dialogue with someone and the conversation gets a little bit too friendly and a little bit too enjoyable, she says she cuts the conversation and she keeps it moving. She said, I'm married. I'm good. I'm okay. So it's like, are you putting up those potential boundaries and barriers to secure your goal? So that's basically what I had on that in regards to, your goals and being discerning and being able to make those decisions in the moment of where to go, where not to go, and certain dialogues to have and certain ladies to entertain because they're going to approach you.
So I want to say this, and I won't finish everything, but I want to say this because my hand was up and Ash just threw me a pass right underneath the basket, and I'm going to throw it down with a big dunk because he used the word decision making. And I'm going to tie that in because, again, that's the second of the 4 principles. We won't get to the last 2, but we just covered self-evaluation. And the second principle is decision making. And Eiffel and I got in a lot of trouble on the first one when we was talking about decision making. So we might get in more trouble again. It is what it is. We love our guy Eiffel because he turns up the heat. But in terms of being a professional man and having that role of being the professional man in your household and making decisions, I think that's a huge one, and it's very tricky. That's a tricky piece because it holds a lot of responsibility to be that decision maker in the household. I know that initially we got into this conflict in a previous show in talking about who is the decision maker, the ultimate decision maker in the household. Because the fact is, if you're married or even just with a partner, there's going to be times where you don't necessarily agree on the same thing at the moment. Who becomes uh, that? You know what? I'm going to make the decision there. How does that entail with being a professional man? The process of number two, the all important decision making principle of mental conditioning. Talk a little bit about that along with being a professional man.
Well,
Actually,
I
you might.
think in regards to that, one of my favorite scenes was when King Leonidas kicked that guy into that pit. Before he kicked him into the pit, he looked towards his wife
Mhm,
and she gave him the head nod, like, I know we're gonna be in some trouble, but
mhm,
you're the leader.
mhm,
So what I have to say is, in regards to it as well, is being transparent and having that clear cut dialogue with your lady beforehand. Who has the final say? That is definitely a conversation that I have with my wife as well too. It's like in points of disagreement, like who has the final say? What direction do we go? Now, and it's connected to who's leading. So the way that I look at it as whether if we go up or down, left or right, it's like we've established I have the final say. So she agrees with it, but also it's a heavy burden to carry. You can't mess up. You can't mess up. That's it. She's putting it all into your hands. You got to take it. You got to rock that baby. You got to feed it. You got to do what you have to do because she's relying on you to do the necessary, let's just say, research into whatever the issue is. The not only with the research, learn whatever it is that you need to pick up in regards to these situations, so that you're not making a flippant decision or problematic decision because she is trusting in you. And then also, if she's more knowledgeable, hey, babe, what's going on? Tell me, well, how do you feel about this? What direction we should go?
I love it. I mean, that's again, that's all of that is being professional. Dino, I see you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know, something wrong with me, man. I like to believe, right, that getting into the relationship and getting into the process of marriage or and just getting into all of that, that I've already set the standard. I've already set the standard. This is the way that I'm going to move in order for us to be able to, big picture, thinking about myself, you as an individual, us as a couple, and then the family. This is how I prefer that we operate on a daily basis, and so on and so forth. Now, you'll never be able to cover everything, but the rules, so to speak, you know, um, of living life at this perspective. Of course, they might maneuver a little bit, they might grow, they might shrink, but basically they're the same. So the decision itself, I believe that if I set the structure and my wife understands the structure and we've been able to live inside of the structure, the decision is going to be the same or close to it. And if in fact there is a little bit difference there, if it's one thing that she's going to be able to count on, is that I'm going to stick to the structure. If she wants to deviate from that, then she would definitely have to explain, or justify her thoughts about what she wanted to do and how she wanted to do it, and so on and so forth, as I would as well. Because
Mm-hmm.
I can defend the structure, but
Mm-hmm.
I could also defend going left if I think I want to go left and I know
Mm-hmm.
I'm outside of the structure. So she would be able to defend that, and then it would be up to me to agree. And if I didn't agree, it would only be the only retort that I would have coming back is, let's just stick to the structure. The structure's already set. Let's just
I
stick
like
to the structure. So I should be able to answer for her, and she should be able to answer for me based on the structure. Now, I set the structure, but she dressed it because it has to fit her too. She has to behave and be active within it too. And it has to
Yes.
be complementary to both of us. I love what I've said. He said, you know, I do my thing, my wife do her thing. But we know how we come together, and this is how we lay it out. We're not worried about that other stuff. So decision making, I think, is a foundational piece when it comes to a professional man, because an unprofessional man would not know to do that. He would not have that. He would not be able to build that. He would not be consistent in being able to build that and construct that and get the trust and everything that goes along with that
Yes.
type of
Yes.
structure.
Yes. 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 Yes.
And
Yes.
it would watch this. It wouldn't happen for him. What's the thing
Yes.
they say? They say it works if you work it.
Yes.
It works if you don't work it. It just won't work for you.
Yes. I agree with that. Excellent. 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 Ife.
Yeah, my quick take on that is, like, you know, I don't think there's anyone in particular has the last say in the decision. Like in my home, I mean, my wife, I let her make the decisions on the children, the stuff that needs to be done. If there's something that I think I need to input my, you know, my stamp on, I would tell her. I would suggest that's a bad idea. This is why it's a bad idea, and then I'll see what she does. Because being with that individual, they have known you for so long and respect your your words or your opinion.
Yes.
They might not
Yes.
like it and says, no,
Yes.
I still want to do this. I still want to do X, Y, and Z. And I would just simply say, all right, you can make a decision. You're going to live. You're going to stand on it, though, if it goes wrong. I'm
Yes.
cool with it. And then she might either say, you know what, I'm not going to do it again. Or, yeah, you're right. Or I'll just do it. And it works out. So at the end of the day is,
Yes.
I don't think it has anything to do with, it doesn't make you better or lesser than who makes the decision in the house, as long as it's the right decision for the family.
Yes.
That's just my thing.
Yes.
And here we go again. Professional men, we don't have egos.
Yes. 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 I agree with that.
We don't have egos.
I agree, and you kind of really piggybacked off of what Dino said, and that again, that word is really, to me, I'm excited about it because that word is really coming into play. The professionalism that Dino talked about, setting the foundation. That we're sticking to the script. We're sticking to the script, and that's he talked about that foundational piece, and that helps with the decision making a little bit later. Ash, we're gonna wrap
So
up.
I just want to clarify for the ladies that's going to be listening to this. So this is not a dictatorship, right? We're not doing this, ordering people around, pointing fingers, and so on and so forth. This professional man sat down and took the opportunity to get to know who you are. He studied you. He watched you grow. He watched you develop. He watched you cry, the ups and downs, the issues, and so on and so forth. You walking through that door after a tough day at work, you don't need to say it. Peep, kids, get out of here. Get out of your mom's face. Get out of your mom's face. No. Give her a minute, So it all comes together with the dialogue, the transparency, and the important and tough conversations in regards to making these decisions at the end of the day. Yes, it is a family structure, but also Dina killed it. It's the consistency aspect of it. It's like, I'm here because you asked me to be here. You put me here. You want me to play a particular role. You want me to do certain things because I have proven to you that I have been consistent. I have shown up, the good times, the bad times, the ups and downs, whatever it may be. But we were here to work together, to get together, to make it to that end goal that I was talking about. I want to be old where, nobody can tell me nothing. I'm flipping off at the mouth. Grandpa, stop cursing. I want to be that. I want to be that, I want to make it there. And in order to make it there, it's like you have to cultivate that environment where as she feels safe, she feel that she can rely on you emotionally and physically, that, hey, this guy got my back no matter what. So if
Mhm.
he is going to make that last decision, he's not making it without me being involved or without the consideration of me, because he took that time to learn who I am.
Mhm. I agree, and I'm going to close it by saying this: we're not going to get to the last two principles, but watch this. Dino said it, and he used that actual term when he said big picture, and he used that term as saying, having the structure. And so that would have been a question for you guys to talk about, big picture with being again a professional man. But he kind of touched that, and then Ash talked about the fourth principle right there. When the fourth principle is to be able to stay the course, and he talks about that when he says the word end goal. Having that mindset. If he said that about 3 or 4 times, and to us tonight, talking about getting to that point to where him and his lady is, we didn't reach the old age. So to me, that's staying the course. And again, that's the professionalism of us as men. And what I'm excited about here is that, and I really took my time to put together these fighters tonight, because I knew that I have great respect for their professionalism as men and in the terms of what we're talking about, but I know that they're just a little bit, they have different fighting styles. And I think that each one of us articulated exactly what their fighting style is. And that makes that it doesn't take away from the professionalism that they are bringing to the table, because they're bringing to the table the tremendous confidence of being able to self-evaluate. As we challenged and we tried to back Eiffel against the wall when he talked about his feelings about self-evaluation, but he's clear on that. So the fact of the matter is that that's his self-evaluation. Like, I don't really need to do that on a daily basis. I'm good. So that I have great confidence in that and in his professionalism when it comes to that. And so that's the piece that I love to bring together. And that's why I wanted this to be a little bit different, because I don't just like people to just put wild stuff on the table, which we see a lot of that. And just to try to dissect that, but let's dissect that with a little bit of clarity of being able to move forward. And I think that the four principles have helped with that. I think, again, we had some tremendous sparring here tonight. The fighters that were on, really, to me, I always say, and all of you guys, we have a lot of one-on-one sparring sessions. You guys are truly, truly, professional men in my eyes. I want to say thank you. I want to give you guys one last word to, kind of wrap it up, and then we're gonna go home tonight. So, if I give you the last word from you, you go first. Talk about professionalism, professional men, and the importance of that.
I mean, I mean, we all elaborated on it a lot. I mean, but
Mhm.
my take is for the listeners out there, professional men doesn't mean that we're better than anyone else. It's just a complete mindset, and it's an accumulation of all the things that we've experienced, and we have come to a peaceful place, where you know we just want to finish out our lives and run things and do things, and we're set in our own ways, in a positive way, not negative.
Yes.
And we're not here for the bickering and the fighting. We just here just to finish out our lives the right way, and that's pretty much it, man. We're not here to dog the woman. We're not here to, you know, say bad things about you, but we want you to understand is when you come to us, we already know when you're bullshitting right off the bat. That's it.
I love Eiffel, man. Go ahead, Dino.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to you guys, um, for the conversation. I'm always stretched, you know what I mean, when I come into the gym, and sometimes I get beat up, and have to go back and reevaluate something that somebody said, and how it was said, and or I could just pick something up. So I definitely appreciate you guys. And Ash made me think about, and we followed suit with sending a message to the ladies who may be listening to this. And it's like, one of the ways, one of the paths for becoming a professional man is you have to learn to trust yourself. Self-trust. You got to
Yeah.
trust yourself. And when it comes to the level of professionalism in which we sit in a high level of self-trust. It's been said, we've gone through some things. I love what Ives, is it Ives?
Eiffel.
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 Eiffel. I love what Eiffel said. I believe God. You know what I mean? You can't say nothing after that. You can't say, for me, I'm a believer. You can't say nothing after that. You read the word, you understand the word, I believe God, and boom. He's going to direct my path. He's going to carry me. He's going to lead me, and so on and so forth. Excuse me. So it's not about running the relationship. We care very little about running the relationship.
Right. That's right. That's right.
You know, we do want peace. We want structure. We want things to run smoothly. We want things that we can look forward to, that we can expect. And again, one of the greatest things that we can expect is just this experience of being, you know, with our woman or with our family and with our friends and so on and so forth, and have a good time and be able to, you know, get up the next morning and do whatever it is that we need to do again. So, you know, I recommend sparring for you ladies.
Yes.
And sparring not just with each other, around some good women, around some professional women. If you don't have any professional women, get around some professional women, so that if you're married, you can, you know, continue to build with your husband. And if you're not, at least, I share this all the time, you have to spar with men that you would date, that you would marry. Whether you're physically attracted to them or not, you have to, those are the type of male friends that you should have, simply because when the man that you're attracted to comes in front of you, you'll know what to say yes to.
That's right. I like that.
You'll know what to say yes to. So thank you, Elliot, for having me.
Thanks, man.
Always appreciate it. Thank you. I hope I didn't take too long.
No, that's good. Ash, close us out.
All right. In closing, short story. I'm gonna keep it short. Elliot asked me a question, and I posed it to a friend of mine. We've been working together, rolling around in the mean streets of New York and Brooklyn together for years. So Elliot posed a question to me, and I asked him, hey, look, how's the relationship going with you and your wife? He says, it's going great. It's going, you know, so on and so forth, just singing its praises. And I asked him, the consistency and the things that you have been implementing, what originally motivated you to show up like how you've been showing into your marriage? And he said to me, he was like, Ash, when I started talking to you, I was like, what? I said, wait a minute. All those years, you know, we're getting lunch, we're taking breaks, we're doing this, we're doing that. So you telling me that it didn't motivate you on? He was like, no, it's a lot of discussions that Elliot and I have been having throughout the years, and it branches off. Steel sharpens steel. And now he's saying it's been night and day, the relationship that he's having with his wife. So it is very, very important that Dino said, you got to spar. You got to have these conversations. You got to have these dialogues. There's no telling who's listening. And you may say something and someone will just take it and run with it to their lady and then try it out. Now it's like, oh my goodness, big smile on her face. The relationship is doing better. They're being more transparent. They're having these open dialogues and so on and so forth. They're checking in every week. Every week, family meeting. Let's check in. What's going on? Hey, babe, any gripes, any issues or whatever, so on and so forth. So I would like to thank Elliot throughout the years.
Thanks, man.
He's been helping out greatly. And the mental conditioning aspect of things, before I even knew the name, it's been working and doing its magic and branching off and helping other people just by having these types of dialogues.
Definitely. Thanks, man. Thanks again. Thank you guys, man. You guys are truly heavy hitters in my book. And you guys didn't come up short at all. We're going to continue this process. We're going to get the ladies on next to do some sparring. We're trying to make sure that, you know, we give an equal opportunity. And so you guys got a little cheat sheet to hear exactly what, you know, is on our minds. And we got different perspective, different type of fighters that are in the gym tonight. But I think it's, you know, I want to once again say kudos. And I, as Ash said, that, you know, he learned some stuff from me. I learned from each and every one of you guys a lot. Like I said, all of us that are here, John just left, we've logged hours and hours and hours of sparring time together. And that's what you hear when you hear me talk. is the time that I spent with Dino, the time that Eiffel and I, the time with Ash and John. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining us for another edition of the Mental Conditioning Gym.
My pleasure, fellas.
Thank you, man. Everybody have a
See you
great night.
guys soon.
Right here again, the next Mental Conditioning Gym podcast.
All right.
Everybody, thank you.
That'll be good.
Bye.
All right.
You
Peace.
too.
All right.
Thanks, boys.